Welcome, boys and ghouls, to SL Tonight. I'm Felix Lubezki, your host with the most chills, coming at you from the creepy corners of Second Life. Tonight we're diving into the twisted, thrilling world of EC Comics. Tales from the Crypt, Vault of Horror, and Mad Magazine. But this ain't just tripping down comic book lane. We're talking censorship, how it smashed EC back in the day, and how it's sneaking back with things like COSA and the UK laws, all dressed up as protecting kids, but really choking free speech and creativity. Picture me, this retro TV, and a half hour of comic history mixed with a fight for freedom. YouTube crew, hit that like button and get ready for a spooky ride. Let's jump into the gory glory of EC Comics. Stick around because I want to hear from you in the comments. What's your favorite EC story and what do you think about censorship today? Let's do this. So let's zip back to the 1940s. Comic books are the hot new thing, and Max Gaines is the guy who makes it happen. He takes newspaper strips, folds them into colorful booklets, and boom, comics as we know it are born. In 1944, he starts Educational Comics, EC, with stuff like picture stories from the Bible. Super wholesome, right? But in 1947, Max dies in a boating accident, and his son, Bill Gaines, steps up. Bill's like, let's crank this up. He turns EC into entertaining comics, and by 1950, they're dropping horror, crime, war, and sci fi stories that hit like a sledgehammer. Think Tales from the Crypt with the Crypt Keeper's wicked laugh, or Weird Science with its crazy aliens. These comics were free speech unleashed, saying what others were too scared to say, with killer art by guys like Al Filstein and Wally Wood. If this old TV could flicker to life, it'd show you EC's wild stories, monsters, murders, and big ideas. That freedom made EC legendary, but it also put a target on their back. We'll get to that in a second. YouTube folks, in the comments, tell me what's the boldest comic book story you've ever read? Something as gutsy as EC? Let's hear it. By the early 1950s, EC's at its peak. They're churning out Vault of Horror, shock suspense stories, weird fantasy, stories that don't just scare you, they make you think. Like Judgment Day in 1953, a sci fi tale about a black astronaut fighting robot racism. In the 1950s, that's bold. EC stories had twist endings that punched you in the gut, drawn by artists like Jack Davis, who made every zombie and spaceship pop. Then there's Mad, starting as a comic in 1952. It was EC's way of roasting the world. Movies, politics, even comics themselves. Mad was like a big, loud screw you to anyone trying to control what creators could say. That's the power of free speech. It lets artists tell the truth, whether it's creepy or hilarious. Imagine this TV blasting mad snark or crypt scares. EC was all about freedom, saying what they wanted, how they wanted. With that kind of freedom, it made some people real nervous. YouTube crew, drop in the comments. If you were in an EC comic, would you star in a horror story, or a sci fi epic, or mad style parody? I'm curious. Now things get grim. By 1954, EC's too big and parents are freaking out, saying comics are turning kids into troublemakers. The psychologist Frederick Wortham writes Seduction of the Innocents, claiming EC's horror stories are corrupting young minds. Sounds like a bad horror flick, right? The government holds Senate hearings and the comic industry panics. They create the Comics Code Authority in 1954, saying it's to protect kids. But the code was a creativity crusher. No gore, no monsters, no words like whore on covers. X posts say it was practically designed to kill EC because their stories were so edgy, Bill Gaines fought back, like when the code tried to censor Judgment Day over its black hero. He said, over my dead body, and won that round. But the code still killed EC's horror and crime comics by 1956. Gaines pivoted to Mad Magazine, which dodged the code since it wasn't a comic. Genius move. This TV could have shown those hearings. A moral panic dressed up as saving kids. Sound familiar? Today, laws like COSA in the US and UK's Online Safety Act are doing the same thing. They say they're protecting kids, but they're vague rules about harmful content, could force platforms to censor anything edgy or bold. KOSA's duty of care is like the Comics Code 2.0, control, not safety, shutting down free speech just like the code crushed EC's creativity. Tell me, in the comics, does KOSA or UK censorship remind you of the Comics Code? What's worth fighting? What's worth fighting for in free speech today? Let me know. EC Comics got slammed by censorship, but their spirit never died. Their stories inspired Creep Show, the Tales from the Crypt TV show with that pun-happy Crypt Keeper, and creators like Stephen King and Neil Gaiman. EC proved comics could be smart, bold, and free. And also, let's not to mention that we've also got other stories that are being told by authors that preceded these books or were in the same time as these books. So when your teachers were telling you that comics aren't just, they are not books, they don't count towards a book report. Well, I'm sorry, but I just read the Pigeons from Hell, and that guy wrote Conan the Barbarian, which was a book. And needless to say, it wasn't a book, but it was a short story, which I think that counts. And the fact that it's inside a comic book, that's kind of prevailing, isn't it? I guess that means that it was a book after all, teacher. You know. Anyway, EC proved comics could be smart, bold, and free. Collectors still chase their issues for big bucks, and in 2024, Oni Press brought AC back with new creepy tales. But censorship's creeping back. KOSA and UK laws are pushing platforms to over-censor, using protected kids as an excuse. X posts are lit up about this. People see KOSA as a way to control what we say, not keep anyone safe. Just like the Comics Code killed EC's comics, these laws could silence artists, writers, and even you and me. Free speech is what let EC make fearless stories, and it's what let creators today push the limits. We cannot let another Comics Code win. This retro TV is a reminder of EC's fight for freedom. We got to keep that fight alive because free speech isn't just for comics, it's for all of us. And that's the wild, spooky story of EC Comics, born in freedom, crushed by censorship, but still inspiring us to speak out. And I would still say that even when it was crushed by censorship, they still turned it into something and kept going with it. There is no way that you can stop free speech. This is the deal. No matter how hard, there will be people that will try, but you can't actually keep down people that have free speech as long as they use it. From Bill Gaines' war on the Comics Code to today's battles against KOSA and UK censorship, it's all about protecting creativity and free speech. Let's keep EC's rebellious spirit alive, say what you mean, and don't let anyone shut you up. YouTube crew, I need you in the comments. What's your favorite EC comic story or character? And what do you think about KOSA? Is it another Comics Code trying to control us? Hit that subscribe button for more SL tonight, and let's keep the conversation going. Thanks for joining me, boils and ghouls, next to my trusty retro TV. This is Felix Lubezki, and I just want to tell you that I am working on a series called Tales from the Shadows, where I am doing stories from the EC Comics. So I hope you will stay spooky, stay free, and I'll catch you next time on SL Tonight.